Well, good morning, guys. It is bright and early on another beautiful fall morning, but what's different today is it's actually a Monday morning. It's not even the weekend. And that's because I actually took this week off. It's staycation week. I have reached an age and point in my life where I actually consider it a vacation to stay at home and do work around the house. I guess. Some of you can relate. I know my metrics on my audience. You guys are old enough that you know that sometimes that's a good thing to be able to stay home and do work around the house and clean the basement and do the stuff that's on your to-do list. Well, I'm there. So that's what I'm doing this week. And part of that is working on this thing, the IROC. So good news about that is I got a ton of time to do some work, and I'm really hoping we're going to get a lot of work done on the IROC this week, and maybe even shoot ahead with some video footage of me doing some other stuff around here this week. The bad news is that a lot of this work is going to be done sans Declan, because he's in school and then in club stuff after school. So sorry guys, you just get me for the most part. If we're lucky, maybe we get to surprise him by picking him up from school in his own car, but well, let's not count on that. That's chickens before hatching or carts before horses or something like that. But let's get to work on this now. So when last we left you in our last video, we did take this thing up for a very short cruise, which we didn't even get to show you because my camera died. So on that little quick cruise just up and down the street, this thing performed like a pig, bleeding like crazy, oil. So that's something that sort of abruptly ended that ride and made it very, very short. Also not shifting right. It just wasn't going into higher gear. It was staying in like first or second and not shifting right. That's probably just something not adjusted right on our end here. We'll work that out. Not too panicked about it yet. And it also overheating. Technically not overheating, but running hot. It was running about 220 as we were taking that trip, and that's what the sensor was telling me, or the sending unit was telling me, and the gauge was telling me. I also verified that with my infrared thermometer, just through the scanner on the gooseneck on that one, and yeah, that's about what it's running. So it's not just a bad temperature sending unit, which doesn't happen all that often if we're being honest. It's actually what it's running. So if I'm being honest, that's my bad. I saw the scale inside that radiator when I put it back in, but I just kind of crossed my fingers and hoped that it would clear itself up. It did not. So we do have a new radiator to be able to throw in it. So unfortunately that means me draining coolant, and so I'll do that today. That also meant I had to go and clean that drain pan again. I have some of the cleanest drain pans you've ever seen because I have to keep on reusing the stuff that I'm draining out of cars, but we'll get that done. So order of business, I gotta find where this oil leak is coming from. My suspicion is that this is actually coming from somewhere in the timing chain cover, and I'm actually gonna have to take the timing chain cover off, which is going to mean me once again removing front accessories, removing the water pump, removing the timing chain cover, removing harmonic balancer to get to the timing chain cover. Not looking forward to it, not psyched about it, but you know, it's my bad. I got no one to blame but myself. So I'm probably going to end up having to do that, but we're going to jack the car up and take a look and see if I can identify where that leak is coming from. Maybe it's something simple, but I'm not counting on it. So we got to take care of that oil leak, and we got to take care of replacing the radiator. After that, we'll be on to trying to figure out if we can diagnose what's going on with that transmission. But hopefully, by the time we get to that, we're talking about a car that's moving and we're running and driving it, and that should be a little bit easier for us to work out. So let's come along and first, let's get this thing up in the air and see if we can figure out what's going on with our oil leak, huh? So I'm looking for where this oil is sort of running from. And it sure seems like it's still coming out of that gap in between the timing chain cover and the oil pan. So you guys can see that, I think. Let's see if we can get this thing to, this light to stay put for you. So you have a shot at seeing this. Here we go. So you can see the oil's right in here, right inside this lip. Focus. There we go. So it looks for sure to me like it's still coming from the same spot. And is that because I don't have a good tightness there? Kind of looks like it. I wonder if I straight up don't have the right seal in place. So I decided to go with sort of the nuclear option, which is to take this whole pan out. Because I've got to really figure out if I've got the right gasket in this pan or not. The only way I'm going to find that out is by taking it out and measuring again. Now, I know I measured when I first put it in, but I'm now second guessing myself, especially with the leak. So we're going to do it again. Now, at first, I got everything prepped to actually unmount the engine and lift it up a little bit. Not pull it completely, but just get it lifted enough to drop the oil pan. But then I started thinking, if I can get this starter out, and if I can get this Y pipe out of here, which I did, I might actually be able to do this without lifting the engine. So we're going to try the easy way, I hope. All right, so this one is leaving me stumped. I have the old gasket. This is the oil pan front seal that I took out of there. And while I can't get the oil pan out without lifting the whole engine out, and even lifting the engine, I'm not sure I can get it high enough to really drop the oil pan all the way out, so I'm not going to do it. But I am able to get the oil pan out enough with taking that Y pipe out that I can cleanly get to this gasket. So I'm able to get it out, get the timing chain landing spot for this cleaned out, and I can replace it well. So I'm going to do that. And I can see already, just from seeing this thing in place, this is the wrong size. There are two sizes for this for a small block Chevy, depending upon the oil pan that you have. There's one that's a 1/4 inch thick, and there's one that's 3/8 inch thick. I had both, allegedly, with my kit that came with this, and I thought that I had the 1/4 inch installed because I thought that that's the one that worked. I can very cleanly see now, once this thing is installed, it's not the right one. There's room, and I can see it. Even when the thing's cinched in, it's not tight enough. So I need the 3/8 version. So I thought that the other one that I had was the 3/8. It's not. I just mic'd them both, or just dial calipered them both, and they are both 1/4 inch. So now it's a quick lunch break, I guess, and a quick order to the parts store to see if I can get a 3/8 inch thick version of this, and then grab that, and hopefully that's going to solve the problem. This was definitely where it was leaking. I think this time it was leaking in a different spot than it was the first time around, but either way, it was still leaking. So I think getting this in the right size and then adequately gasketing it is going to do the trick, and then we'll be fixed, and I can button this thing up and move on to other issues. So I think that's going to do it, and I think we'll be done with this once I can wrap this up, but got to get a parts run. Oh well. I'm back, and not to get too deep into the old back in my day thing, but I kind of gotta, because this drives me nuts. And it's just a peekaboo into the realities of working on old cars and trying to run a YouTube channel, quite frankly. So I started off today with all kinds of excitement about what today was going to bring and how much I was going to get done. And I just blew a ton of time. So while I was eating my lunch, I was online looking for where I could find an oil pan gasket set for a small block Chevy, which not all that long ago was the kind of thing that you could just go into any auto parts store and they were going to have it behind the counter, no problem, and they'd have multiple choices. Not so. So I had to go and look this up. No one around me had it. Now, in fairness, just about every parts store that I normally go to could have it to me tomorrow, but I wasn't interested in tomorrow. I wanted to get this in today. And so in order to get it in today, I had to go and get it from one of the auto parts stores that had it in stock. The closest one that had it in stock was in Springfield. Yeah, 45 minutes away. Well, 45 miles away, an hour drive. So I just drove an hour out and an hour back for a gasket set, all so I could get the front seal. So that's where I'm at. Pain in the neck, but got it. So now we're going to go ahead and put this in. We'll try to replace as much of the gaskets as we can. That's been taken down and up a couple of times, so probably makes sense to change most of these gaskets anyway. And we'll seal it up real good, and we'll get a move on here, and hopefully that's going to solve a lot of our problems. This is it all cinched up and liberally gasket material. So it's a bunch of the ultra gray in there. I think that's about as cinched up as we can get it, and it does look good and closed up. So it's looking about as tight as it did last time, except this is an 1/8 inch thicker material that's in there. So if this doesn't stop it, then I give up. I'm not sure what it is, so hopefully this will do the trick. Now let's get on to the transmission stuff. Now, as you might recall from earlier misadventures on the Tom and Declan show, we were having some challenges with our transmission cable, the shifter cable specifically, that connects the shifter to the transmission linkage itself, and that's what gets it to shift back and forth. So we replaced that cable, and I was having some challenges getting it adjusted. Well, I thought I had it figured out. I don't, because when we pulled it back into the garage after our very, very short run, I couldn't get it to go back into park again, which tells me I don't have enough throw in that cable to get that thing to go all the way to park. So we have to inspect that. So let me get underneath the car, show you what I'm talking about there, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna try to do topside to fix it. So here be the shifter linkage. Don't pay any attention to these cables. I haven't tied them up out of the way yet, but those go to the electronic clutch converter, converter lockup. Now those will get stitched out of the way later. But this is your linkage on the transmission. So where this goes will determine which gear the transmission is manually shifted into. So park, reverse, third, second, first, overdrive, etc. This is our cable. This is what's actually connected inside to the shifter. So if you don't have the appropriate amount of cable allowed for here, then this linkage won't go all the way forward into what is park. And that is what I suspect is going on here. Now this nut is the only adjustment we have. You can see, I think, if I get you in there close enough, there's a little gap here. This little gap is the only adjustment we have, and you can see we're all the way at the back of this slot. So that means we're already using as little of this cable as we can. So I don't know what my options really are at this point. I think technically I could maybe move this bracket forward, but that's way too far forward. That's gonna, it's not gonna work. There's not enough room in this bracket to use wiggle room here. So I suspect, since this is such a small gap that we're playing with here, that it's probably something topside. I'm not using up enough space, or I'm using up too much cable somewhere on the top side, and that's affecting me down here. So I'm gonna have to go and investigate up above where the shifter is and figure out what might be going on there before I start doing ugly things down here. But I'll figure that out, and you guys will come along with me. Here's our shifter right here. You can see that pretty clearly. And then right here is our shifter cable. That's the little pin that it's hiding on or riding on. I don't have a cotter pin in here right now because we're still messing with this. See if I can get us to focus here. Okay. This is the cable. Now there are two, the cable we know overall is plenty long enough. There's slack in the cable, but here's the way my logic works here on this thing. There are two stops or brackets for the cable. There's this one up here. This is one stop point, one connection point. This is where the first bracket for the cable mounts. The second one I already showed you. That's down below on the transmission itself. It's the cable length between those two brackets that's the critical part. You need to get that length correct in order to make sure that there's enough room. So the first thing that I did here was assume that this bracket here probably got bent a little bit. So I gave this a couple of whacks with a pry bar forward to try to give that a little bit more relaxation. And I think that actually worked. I got a little bit more play down underneath, and it fits a little bit better. So now what I'm going to do is go back down underneath and see if I can't get a little bit more play in the bracket that's on the transmission, and see if we can't fix that there, because we are really close. I mean, we're talking about a millimeter or two of difference here for this to work. It's very, very close. So I'm just going to loosen this bracket a little bit. There's really not a lot of play here. I don't know if this is going to buy me a thing, but we'll see. So what I want is for this to slide into this piece with no problem. If I have to coax it at all, that means this isn't going to work. Yeah, I'm going to have to take this bracket off and see if there's... Alright, so what I found was this bracket was a little bent this way. So we just bent that back. Let's see if this makes a difference. Who knows how it got bent, but sure it could have happened very easily. I always seem to be cleaning my hands off and wiping myself down at the end of these things when I'm talking to you guys. So if any of you companies that make wipes out there want to sponsor me, we could have our sort of post-work wipe moment. Insert your wipe name here. I'd be happy to do that. So let's wrap up what we did today and what is day one. of God knows how many days. So we did manage to stop this leak, I think. Now, in fairness, I haven't even filled this thing back up with oil yet. I want to give that sealant, the Ultra Gray, some time to set up. You're supposed to give that stuff at least an hour to set, and then I think even 24 hours before you're really supposed to run it. So I haven't even filled the oil back up in this thing yet. I'm just going to leave that till tomorrow because we got the radiator to drain too. So it's not like I need the oil in it right now anyway. So we're going to leave that. And then we'll take care of that tomorrow, probably at some point. We'll just fill that up and hopefully that'll be full, so it'll give it that extra time. I feel much better about this fix. And the reason that I feel better about this fix now is I didn't feel great about the idea last time that the thing that was causing this giant leak was just the fact that I didn't put enough gasket sealer on. That didn't sit well. That's not usually the reason why you have a giant leak. That might be the reason why you have a weeping leak, but not a pouring leak. The pouring leak is bigger. That's a failed gasket or a seal, or it's the wrong one. And I think that's what we got going on here. It's just the wrong darn seal. So this makes much more sense to me, that it was the wrong size seal. And the fact that the larger seal went into this thing without any hassle, without any problems bolting this pan in place, just helps me believe that that was in fact it. So I'm not going to go ahead and get all cocky and say that it's solved, but I think we're there. I'm still not convinced on the shifter. I want to go through that a bunch more times. We'll continue to do that sort of tomorrow as we work on it to make sure we shift it back and forth. Make sure that every time we do that, it does continue to go into park, because that's the big concern, that it goes into park. But it seems like we got the right amount of cable length there. It's still like just barely enough, so there's still not enough adjustment there to make me happy, but I think we're in a good spot. So those were the two major issues that I wanted to adjust. We still have to adjust the TV cable. That's not adjusted yet. So it's installed, but we didn't adjust it. So we'll get into that next time, or tomorrow, next time I'm working on this thing, this video. And then we'll also get into changing out the radiator. So still more to come, but we're getting down to it. So light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm pretty sure it's not a train. So good night, guys, and I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning. Just kidding. It's not even close to morning. It's not even the next day. It's the day after that. Truth is, I had stuff going on yesterday. Family stuff. Cool stuff, but not car stuff. So we skipped a day, which is fine. And now we're on to the next day, Wednesday. And we had appointment and planned stuff going on this morning. So now it's just after lunchtime. And I'm cracking on the car now. But no worries, we're getting on things. So the goal is to drain this radiator of coolant and get started there. What I'm doing right now is actually removing the chains from the intake. I had put them on there the other day when I feared that I was going to have to half pull the motor to deal with the oil pan leak issue. But since I didn't have to do that, now I got to take those things off before I forget. So fortunately, because we just put this radiator in, it should not be too much of a bear to remove. Usually the biggest part of difficulty, for me anyway, in removing radiators is everything being stuck in place. That seems to be my biggest hassle, is stuck transmission cooler lines or stuck clamps or hoses. Everything just sort of being frozen in place and being difficult to remove. That should not be the case here because everything's pretty fresh. So really the only thing that we have to contend with is this draining of the coolant. I think we're actually catching most of that. And I don't think we talked about this upper radiator hose before, but we probably should now. I did manage to find an upper radiator hose that I do think is going to work. At some point I would like to find a different thermostat housing, because I think the neck on the thermostat housing is a little bit too big for this, but this radiator hose does seem to, in general, work. Might still do some trimming with it, but we'll see once I get the new radiator on there. It might be even fits better. Or worse, with my luck, who knows. Okay, I think those are 10s. This is our new guy. Now, it's not that I distrust anybody, but you know, everybody makes mistakes. So I'm going to do as much of a direct comparison as I can here with both of these radiators. Make sure that this is, in fact, as much of a direct replacement as we can hope to get. Yeah, dimensionally we are spot on. Ports wise, we are spot on as well. They've even given me the heater shutoff cap here too, so I don't have to use my jury rigged piece here. So, yep, I think we're happy. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, this goes in much lighter than before. Part of that reason is because this is actually a plastic and aluminum radiator. So the core is aluminum, the tanks are plastic. I cheaped out a little bit. Sue me. You're not paying, so, you know, shut up about it. In truth, if anything's going to bite me in the butt about this, it's going to be the fact that it's a plastic tank radiator, but I'm not ultimately real concerned about it. I think it's probably going to be fine. It's not like this is the first one they've ever built like that. So we'll see what it can handle and what it can stand up to, but I think we'll be just fine with it. It does have all the right connections. It's the right radiator, so we should be okay. What the heck, we'll take the chance to fill up on the Earls too, because that needs to happen anyway. A little bit of drippage, but we'll clean it up. So not sponsored in any way, although I'd happily take them. But I like to use the Lucas Hot Rod and Classic motor oil. This stuff seems to work well for our purposes. Oh, I'm making a mess now. It's all my bad. It's got plenty of zinc in it and additives. It is designed to be running these old motors. And best of all, for me anyway, it's pretty available. So I can usually get this at O'Reilly's. And it's reasonably priced. Worth noting, if you guys are shopping for it at O'Reilly's, it is not always out on the shelf. Sometimes you gotta ask for it and it's out back, but they can grab it for you. So if you're looking for this stuff and you don't see it out on the shelf, don't be dismayed. Just ask somebody if they've got the Lucas Hot Rod oil, and they may tell you they do, and they just have to run out back and grab it. I swear, it does not matter how many gallons of coolant I have on hand. I'm always going to need 1 gallon more, and that's the case. Radiator's full right now, but I know once we start running it, it's going to suck some down. So I'm going to run off to the store, see if I can pick up another gallon or 3, just to make sure we have them on hand. And then we'll come back to this, and I think we're going to be ready to just make sure everything is topped off and start this thing up again, and cross our fingers and hope we get no leaks. All right, so that's that mischief managed. Now it's time for me to get this throttle linkage cable taken care of. This TV cable, before I just had it sort of installed loosely, or quickly I should say. It's not a permanent fix, so time for me to be a little bit more intentional. So we want to install this little spring on here to take up a little slack, because this isn't exact. It never is, from what I understand. So we're going to pull on this cable until we can feel that pull. tighten. All right, I think we got our adjustment there. So this is the TV cable that we were talking about right down here. Now we're on the right setting for our 700R4 transmission. There's a certain spot in the transmission linkage to place this. We've got our connector on here. We've got a little spring after the connector and before the stopper on the cable. We'll trim this off once we're totally happy with everything we got here. And we set this off so we were just starting to feel this pull, just getting this thing taut. And then once we tighten that up, then we went ahead and pushed on this cable, threw the throttle way open, and then let off that adjuster to get this thing in the right spot. And I think, at least according to the directions I read, that should have us set. Well, we're rapidly running out of day today, but let's see if we can get this started and at least check for leaks. Do you see any leaks coming from underneath? None? Well, good news, bad news. Good news is the old leak is gone. Bad news is that's allowed us to see, I don't know if it's a new leak or a leak that was there that I'm just not finding again, but we do have another leak. And that leak is in the transmission. Best I can tell without jacking it up, because this car sits so low, it looks like it's coming from the coolant lines. and we're still really low on fluid. So that is a problem we'll tackle tomorrow. But fantastic news, this thing is now shifting cleanly. I felt it go into park, into reverse, into neutral, into drive a couple of times, went back and forth. So it's going, it's shifting, and it seems like it's shifting cleanly. It's running nice and smooth. You guys could hear that. Even the windshield washer works, which means we can get an inspection sticker. So everything's pretty much checking out. I just got to work on those transmission lines and get those tightened up so that we can seal that leak up. Once that leak is sealed up, then I can go ahead and make sure that we're topped off on transmission fluid. My suspicion is it's low transmission fluid that was causing my shifting issues in terms of when we were driving it around, because I think it was definitely low. So I'm going to chalk that up to our big problem, and hopefully tomorrow I can take this thing for a drive around and find out. And if that checks out, then we'll get this thing inspected tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Well, good morning, guys. It's Friday morning as I talk to you, so if all goes well, you'll see this Friday night. If you are the type that tunes in on Friday night, otherwise you'll see it Saturday, Sunday, whenever you normally tune in to see our show. But I think we're ready. So I have been laboring on this thing all week. What you missed yesterday, which I didn't video, was me wrapping this thing up. And the reason I didn't video it is, well, frankly, because all of the cursing doesn't do well for monetizing the channel. I had a couple of things to wrap up on this, which drove me nuts. So let me just walk you through that real quick. One was a leak from the transmission. Turns out that was coming from the dipstick tube. So I just pulled that, cleaned it up real good, put a little bit of sealant around the seals in that, and put that back in, tighten that up. We're fine now. No more leaks coming out of that. Topped off the transmission fluid, and that's now fine. So we're good there. No more leaks. Started it up again, no more leaks. However, it's the started it up again part that was a challenge. So once I get that all buttoned up, I went to go turn the key on this thing and got nothing. And so like an idiot, I did the first cardinal sin of troubleshooting, which is I made an assumption that something that I had done was now causing the problems. Never do that, guys. Always go back to just the core of troubleshooting. Figure out what it is that should be happening and find out why it's not. I screwed up. I just assumed that what I had done is must have screwed up a wire somewhere. And so I assumed that I must have screwed up one of the wires to the starter, and that's why it wasn't working. And I spent a couple of hours troubleshooting, even dropped the starter and bench tested the starter, which was working fine. When I finally sort of gave up and went back to the core of troubleshooting, that's when my problems got really easy. So I actually went back to the manual, the service manual, and I went through what GM tells their techs to do when they experience this problem, and I solved it in like 10 minutes. It turns out that our gear selector switch, commonly known as the neutral safety switch, is bad. Just randomly died on me. So I put jumper pins in there to connect the ignition and the starter switch, and it starts up just fine. So yesterday I was able to go and grab Declan with the car, and we were able to road test this thing. It runs and drives fine. We were able to take it to the gas station and fill it up, and he was able to drive it around for the first time. So this thing is running and driving. So we're going to do a couple of real small things to it now. I'm just going to try to tighten up the throttle cable a little bit because that's a little bit loose. It is shifting fine now. It does shift through the gears as you're driving, so that's fine. And then I'm going to get this thing off as quickly as I can to the station to have it inspected so that we can get a sticker on it. I don't feel good about Declan driving this car until it's got an inspection sticker on it. So we'll get that done this morning, hopefully. And then with any amount of luck, he'll be driving this thing this afternoon. So we just had our first frost here in Mass. It is that time of year, we are done with our second summer and we are firmly into the fall. Unfortunately, one of the things that's not working on this car right now is the blower motor, but we'll figure that out later. Right now, I'm just happy that it's running and it's driving, and we'll just focus on getting him his sticker and moving along. The truth is, his drive to school is so short that this car isn't going to build up the temperature enough to give him heat before he gets to school anyway, so it's not really a giant concern, but we'll figure it out when time allows. For now, I just want to get this thing running and get it moving, so let's see if we can back this sucker up out of the garage. I don't know how much I can actually trust that gauge to read accurately. It's not, I don't think, a binary gauge, but you guys can comment if you know details on how these guys work. Sometimes these factory gauges are a little bit more binary. Once the car is warmed up and you do sit at idle with it, that needle does drop down, but we still have really good fuel pressure there. Temp gauge is working, and temps are very much in control now that we got everything figured out there, so we're good with that, and we're building plenty of charge. So everything seems to be good except the speedo. I'm going to have to figure that out and why that's not working. We must not have a good connection to the transmission is my guess, but again, that's a problem for a later day. Sticker. Anybody else get crazy anxiety waiting for this? It's only safety, but still, I get nervous. There it is, guys. We got it. She's legal.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Then it's your chance to be ruthless. let
it
go,
occurred
I
to
know
me,
you
we don't
hate
have any
that.
backup
I've been doing fine.
because I
I'm
have
not
a
wasting any more
hotwire.
time.
You select it,
I live
it's
for the
not
fight
working right.
and the climb.
Your
I think that the pain that's deep inside
that's what we
is
picked
what
from starting,
defines.
and that's what tells
So
the
I won't
reverse
give up,
lights
I'm
to
gonna
come
make
on.
it to the top. I don't care what's in my way,
So
I
I'm kinda
swear I'm
surprised.
never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Then it's your chance to be ruthless. Then it's your chance to be ruthless. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
So there it is. A year of work. Year plus, right? We're on 15 months.
I guess something like that,
Yeah.
probably.
It seems crazy. But she's now running and driving. And how are you feeling?
Excited.
Finally, now
Yeah.
that throttle's working right? Yeah, so hard to understand this if you weren't driving the car, but when we installed the throttle cable, I wasn't careful about the position of the accelerator when I installed the cable, so it was really low to the floor. And what I thought was interference with the carpet, turns out that the pedal was just sitting there too low. So we adjusted the cable a little bit more to pick up the throttle so that the gas pedal's sitting a little higher off the floor now. And now I want to drive it to see how much better it is, but I can only imagine it's a lot more betterer. So,
Yeah, it's a lot more better.
all right. So we've got a couple of runs in the trip under our belt. It seems like it's running and driving good. There's still a laundry list of stuff. I know a lot of people have asked us. I assume they're asking you. At least I know they've asked me. Once you get it running, then what are you going to do?
Oh, I've been thinking that.
There is such a long list of stuff that needs to be done to this car. It's the same thing with the Chevelle. Like it never ends. The project list is going to be very, very long for a very, very long time.
Yeah, but they're all going to be boring things. It's going to be like fixing the sun visors. So I think that's what people are asking about.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like,
think
what
all
are
of
the
them.
things that they're going to watch?
I don't think it's all going to be quite as boring as you think. I think we're going to have some stuff that's going to be a little bit more thrilling. We still have some dents and stuff that we're going to work out on this thing. We still have the whole
Yeah, we can have a video about
bodywork to work
fixing
on.
dents.
There's a fair amount of stuff I think we're going to have to get to, but you're going to have to forgive me. I need a minute because I feel like I've been thrashing on this thing for months straight now, and I need to take a break. So I'm taking some time off from this car, at least unless it's urgently needed. I got to put a little bit more time into the Chevelle, but I've also got to do some other stuff. So I'll be taking a little bit of downtime, take a break, take a beat. But I am super happy for you that this thing's running now. And I know we talked when we first got this thing that this is my car that you get to use. You have put in the time and effort over the last year, and I'm going to tell you now officially is your car. So it stays in my name and under my insurance because otherwise we go broke. But this is, as far as I'm concerned, is your car.
Okay.
That means it's your responsibility too, though.
Ah,
So that means when stuff goes wrong, I'm going to help you.
okay.
But you're gonna take the lead, and yeah. So that means your Christmas list it will be filled with stuff that you want for your car,
car,
to
yeah.
make your car better. But yeah, congratulations, man. It's yours. So enjoy. Love you, kid.
Love you too.
You're welcome. Enjoy your first car.
Yeah, I'll crash
Don't
it.
do stupid stuff.
Yeah, I have that strapped to the keys.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around for this ride for this last year. We will be back with more on this. There's still a ton to do, but quite frankly, I'm just so sick of it at the moment that I'm too tired to even write a list of the stuff that we're going to be working on next. But tell you what, write into us. Tell us what you'd like to see us do next to this car. Tell Declan what you'd like to see us do next.
I have very few ideas.
Yeah, we're open. Let us know what you'd like to see us do.
Probably stuff I didn't think of.
There's tons of stuff that I'm sure that we can get on this thing that we can start working on. We do have the winter coming up. So there is, off on the side, you guys have probably seen, there's an old broken down Nissan Rogue. That actually needs a little bit of love to get it back on the road.
Wow.
Just a little bit, not like this thing. But we're going to get that back on the road so that Declan can drive that in the winter time. As soon as the weather gets really just too bad to want to drive this around, this will get parked in the garage. And that means we'll be able to focus on doing some stuff to the Camaro over the winter inside. So there's options for stuff that we can do to this in the winter. So let us know in the comments if you got any ideas about what to do. We're open. Tell us what you think. And in the meantime, let's take a break. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe and share the videos if you'd like. And leave your comments. I read them all, and I try to get back to as many of them as I possibly can. So thanks for watching, and until next time, keep on throwing wrenches.